here we go. Hello. Um, if you hear my computer in the back, sorry, not sorry. If you guys saw my setup right now, you'd probably fucking laugh at me. I have I'm sitting on my bed, right? Okay, POV. I have a top from a fucking, like, bin. One of those, I don't know, plastic rectangular bins, right? And then I got all my shit just kind of like spread out on top of it like a fucking man made table. All right. So that's where we're at. Anyways, getting into this episode, we're on episode 7. Crazy. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of background on Miss Teasa, this woman that I had met out in Minnesota. And I just really quickly have to give a shout out to Minnesota because I met so many amazing people out there, like, not only like professionally, but when I was just out and about. Highly recommend a solo trip because obviously I've been talking about it for the last fucking 3 episodes, how much it's changed my life. Anyway, I'm so grateful that I met Teasa because she just, first of all, she was really looking out for me. Like, I really felt like the universe, God, the higher power, just like put her in my life for a reason. And I'm really grateful to have met her. But, anyways, a little bit of background on how we met. She actually was my Lyft driver going from Stillwater back to Minneapolis. And what was crazy is, like, we just kind of started talking. It's a pretty long drive. It's like an hour drive. And I was already, like, kind of nervous to be getting, a lift. Anyways, we just get to talking the whole car ride. And, she finally asked, well, like, where are you staying? And I was like, oh, like, I think I'm staying, like, on the north side, like, whatever. And mind you, before I booked this Airbnb, because I was just staying in Minneapolis, like, one night before I was going to go and get on the plane the next day. And I'm a fucking idiot and just didn't, like, do a lot of research on the area. And I was just like, oh, this one looks cute, not thinking shit about it. And so I just booked it. But when I said that, I was like, yeah, I'm like, I think I'm staying on the north side. She whipped her head around so fast and was like, where? And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm gonna fuck this up badly. And so, like, I told her, and she was like, She was like, you are not staying there. Like, that's not happening. She's like, I'm gonna drive you by it. But she was just like, you're a single young woman. I would not. She's like, I have 8 kids of my own. Like, I just would not feel comfortable, like, dropping you off here. But I'm gonna drive you by it, like, whatever. And I'm like, okay, fuck. So we drive by it. And there's a halfway house across the street. And then just down the way, there's, like, a liquor store and people are, like, camping out in it. Like, it was just not a good situation. She was definitely looking out for me. She was like, I don't want you, like, coming back here, like, late at night and somebody followed. Like, she's like, I cannot even fathom. And I'm like, okay, I appreciate you. Like, we'll figure this out. She helped me find a new place to stay. But not only did she do that, she took me around the city and took me to places that I never would have even, like, thought to have gone to or would have been comfortable kind of, like, doing some of those things on my own. And oh my God, she took me to the George Floyd site. And I had completely forgot that that was where he was murdered. And it was so cool what the community had done, to the site, right? Like, there was just a lot of memorabilia. There was, like, flowers and murals. And it was so beautiful. And I just never would have had that experience if it wasn't for her. And not to mention, we're, like, walking through just, like, admiring, all the memorabilia and just, like, the site itself. And who rolls up but fucking George Floyd's aunt? Like, just so casually. Like, she just pulls up, like, you know what I'm saying? The nicest, sweetest person I ever met in my life. And she's like, yeah, I'm George Floyd's aunt. Like, I try to come and, make sure everything's good over here. I'm like, what? I'm like literally having a fangirl moment or something, because I'm like, no way. I'm just like randomly in Minnesota and I'm meeting George Floyd's aunt. Like, this cannot be real. Like, what is happening? Anyway, super cool. Got to meet her, got to talk to her a little bit, hear about her story, and just, the story about the community. And, the reality is that I guess what's happening is the city is trying to take down and take away some of the stuff that has been put up as a result of the tragedy that happened there, which is really fucked up. But apparently it's because there's a lot of homeless people coming in and out of there, because there's not, like, I don't know, the one gas station that's over there, I guess, has been one of the bigger issues, because it's no longer, like, being used as a gas station. But I think it's a terrible thing what's happening over there. Like, that needs to be a site that is kept up, kept sacred. So if you're in the area of Minnesota or you're ever around Minneapolis, go check that out, because that was really, really cool for me to see, and to see how much the community is still, rallying around that tragedy. Obviously, it was a very despicable thing that happened, but the way the community rallied around that and just what they've been able to accomplish because of it, it's a beautiful sight to see. So anyway, the point that I'm trying to make out of that is that I never would have had that experience. And she also took me around downtown. I saw kind of where Prince kind of originated from, which was really cool because I'm into Prince a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So it was just, I'm very blessed, because if I had never met her, I never would have had some of those experiences. But she was also just a wonderful, kind woman and a very kind soul. And so I'm really excited for you guys to kind of hear her story, where she comes from and why she kind of has embodied this just very, like, loving, caring personality. And we also just kind of touch on some deeper realizations on, how we can all move forward in a society where it's really negative. There's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of just not good people out there, right? And she really opened my perspective to what it means to be a good person. So anyway, I'm like rambling at this point. I will let you guys get into the conversation that I had with Teasa, and I am just so blessed, again, to have met her, to have been put in her path, because she's a wonderful woman, and I'm excited for you guys to hear her story. So I'd like you all to meet Teasa. I want to first start off by saying, like, I was just thinking about this last night too. Like, I can't even tell you how grateful I am for looking out for me when you didn't even know me. Like, that's really rare. So I'm just having this, like, realization moment. Like, I don't know, just feeling really blessed that, the universe or the higher power is just, like, looking out for me and placing very intentional and meaningful people in my life. So anyway, I just had to start off by saying that.
Thank you. I appreciate being a part of it.
Yeah.
Especially in a positive way.
Yeah, because I feel like the world is so, can be so negative.
Yeah.
And I guess I was just, like, wondering how you've kind of been able to hold that space for people. Like, even how you were just talking with that other guy who you met, like, how do you just hold that space for people?
I wake up, every morning I wake up, I say my prayer, and I get out my bed, and I just hope everybody feels the way I feel, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even if they don't feel the way I feel, maybe I can help them feel the way I feel by giving off my vibes, or just a conversation, because people think that because they're sad, other people ain't sad, other people are sad, other people just handle it in a different way, so I just always have that energy. I've been told that since I was a little girl.
Yeah.
And now I'm 55, and I'm not even. I've never been disappointed in my life in the 55 years that I've been.
And you mentioned that your dad was a pastor. Do you think that has anything to do with how you operate now, or is that just kind of something that who you are and who you embody?
Yeah, I know it's who I am, because my dad was a pastor, and on the other hand, my mom was, I don't want to say the devil, but she was the opposite.
Sure.
My mom left my dad when she was 7 months pregnant with me, and I was the 7th kid. And so my dad raised my other 6 siblings. So when my mom left my dad, she moved with my grandma, and then everybody felt like I was the first kid, because my other sisters knew I was with my dad.
Yeah.
So my other sisters knew. I really look at it that they had it good, but they look at it as I had it good, because they was promised breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Sure.
And dessert. My dad cooked everything from scratch. The reason my mom left him, I'll go back a little bit, because my dad was 16 years older than her. So when my mom started having kids, my mom never worked a day in her life, never had a paycheck. My dad always worked. So she said when she got pregnant with me, she was 27. And she never had a childhood, teenagehood, and coming into an adult. My dad did everything. She didn't comb my hair. My mom had 6 girls. My dad combed our hair, took us to school, picked us up. He cooked everything from scratch. He cleaned. My mom only had to do every day was to get dressed and look pretty. Even my older sister Jeanette used to say she used to be jealous because my mom never did nothing, and my daddy praised her. But my mom used it as he took her childhood, growing hood from her, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then when she had me and I got older, I was like about 7, I remember. My dad was in Kankakee, Illinois, a small town outside of Chicago, 65 miles away. When I got 7, I wanted to go see my dad, so my mom put me on a Greyhound bus right behind the driver, and called my dad, told my dad what's the number on the outside of the bus, and my dad knew which bus to look for. And the driver was not to let me get off that bus until my dad came with his ID. So it went that way for years. And then I would go, when I leave my dad, I would go back to my mom the same way, sit behind the driver. So I think that's why I developed that traveling from.
Okay.
Loving to drive and traveling and sightseeing. Because I would be on the Greyhound as a kid looking out the window. You know what I'm saying? And everything. And then people getting on the bus, me being young, be like, hi, little lady, would you like an apple or an orange? You know what I'm saying? Because they getting on with food, and back that day you could take stuff from strangers.
Yeah.
So I lived on both sides of the fence. My dad being a preacher, and my mom living the other life, drinking and being around smoking. And I just took the positive from each experience and used it in a beneficial way instead of a negative way.
Yeah. And then, I know you had talked about raising your own kids and things like that. How have you kind of instilled that in them too,
Well, I'm not raising them on my own with my mom.
Yeah.
Because my mom picked my boyfriend, my first boyfriend, which was my only boyfriend, who I had 6 kids by.
Yeah.
And so I was 19 and he was 21 when we moved to Minnesota, because his job relocated him here. We had 4 girls, and they was 2, 3, 4, 5 when we moved here. So I lived at home with my mom, still went to school, didn't have to drop out of school, didn't have to have my kids go to daycare with strangers, raising them. So when the job relocated him here. We came here. They bought us a house because that was the only way I was going to leave my mom. And then when I got pregnant with my son, 3 years later, so my mom came to Minnesota to watch the girls while I go have my son. And then stayed a couple of weeks after until I was able to move around, once I healed. So then when she went back home, we talked so much, the phone bill every month used to be expensive. So she was crying. And I was like, why are you crying? She was like, I miss y'all,
Yeah.
And I was like, well, move here. And then she was like, well, you're going to help me find a place. So I was like, we'll talk about it later. So once my kid's dad got home, who my mom moved in our house at 14 years old, and who my mom picked as my only boyfriend.
Yeah.
I told him that my mom was crying and that I want to move her here. And he said, move her here. It'd be cheaper to move her here than to pay this telephone bill. So he, reached out with love to her the same way she reached out with love to him.
Yeah.
At 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
And then after that, once my mom came, then all the other siblings started missing me and my mom. So then they started coming.
Yeah.
And I had the biggest house out of all of them. So they would all come, stay at my house till they got on their feet.
Yeah.
And they branch out on their own. And all 9 of us ended up here.
Yeah. And I remember we were talking about that the other day too, just about how important it is to kind of have family and to lean on family,
Yes.
And can you speak about that a little bit? Why
how
family
important it is to have family?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because family, it brings laughter. It brings joy. I'm an empty nester, and in a 1-bedroom, I sold my house about 4 years ago when my son moved out. And I would go to my kids' house, spend nights, but then I saw I'm paying mortgage for just the furniture to be here.
Yeah.
So I told my kids I was going to find me a 1-bedroom apartment because, I would have to come home and shovel and rake, and then they would say they'll come. And I didn't want, they had their own life going on. And I like doing that type of stuff, but if we get a big snowfall, that's too much.
Yeah.
Then a plow come through and block the driveway.
Can't even get out.
You got to break up that one. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to save everybody. Let me get an apartment, and
Right.
it'd be a caretaker there.
Yeah.
So then the kids would come over, and they always get together and talk about, remember this, and look at the pictures and the album books. They don't even have album books no more.
Yeah.
And people don't even have pictures of family on the wall. They go to the store and buy a picture of another lady or another man on the wall.
Yeah.
In my house, I got nothing but family pictures. Yeah. So they come over and they look in the book. Remember when you wore this outfit? This outfit was ugly. You remember, man, Mom, you still got that picture? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
So we move, but we don't throw away nothing. And it's so crazy. You can move 1 million times and still have the stuff. And you be talking to the furniture. I thought I threw you away.
Yeah.
But it's just fun to hear them talk with each other, laugh at each other at their age.
Yeah.
And then even when their kids come over, they'll be like, Grandma, who is this? I'll be like, that's your mama.
Yeah.
When she was your age, this my mom? Yeah, that's your mama.
Yeah.
And they be so shocked to see their own mother at 2, 3, 4 years old.
Right. And having that connection too, because my grandma's kind of the same way. She has a bunch of family photos and everything, and that's what I enjoy. I enjoy going over there and talking with my grandma, and she, she just shows me this was your dad and this was your uncle, and
all those lifelong stories.
Yes, and then I'll be able to, when I'm older and she's passed on and whatnot, I'll be able to know exactly who everybody is and everybody's photo, and and know the stories behind those photos.
Exactly.
And I think it's just so important to know your family history.
And they will look at you like, what? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So what do you hope that your kids and your grandkids kind of take away from maybe an experience like that?
Well, I can't even say hope because I see it.
Yeah.
It's already taken away because they I see the way they raise their kids, and it's the same way how me and my mom raised them, because with my generation, I would have been washing my kids' clothes till they was 30.
Yeah.
But I remember coming home one time and my baby was 6 years old, and she was crying.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Why are you crying?" "Because Grandma told me to wash my clothes." And I walked away from her.
Mm-hmm.
And my kid's dad was like, "Why you walk away?" I was like, "Because I ain't gonna go against my mama."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what am I going to say to my mama? "Mama, why are you making my baby wash her clothes?" She needs to know, because that's something going to take her through life.
Yeah.
She needs to know the colors from the whites, from the reds. And my mom used to put reds together. She said, after you wash the reds about 2-3 times, then you can put it with the color, because the dye going to come out. And sure enough, when the water run out the washing machine, guess what's in that sink?
Red yep.
Water.
Yeah.
So those things count, because that red outfit will mess up your other outfits that ain't red.
Mm-hmm.
So those things
Yeah.
take away, you know. So, and that's why they able to tell their kids these things, because
Right.
you get most kids to call you, "Mom, how do you cook spaghetti?"
Mm-hmm.
My kids don't have to call me and ask me that.
Yeah, because I think it's also like too, like you can't just always rely or put the pressure on yourself to teach everybody everything, right? Like they're gonna have to learn on their own, make some mistakes.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And grow from it, and learn from it. But don't be afraid to ask questions, because nobody knows everything. So even me, I got 3 daughters. I put through nursing school just by, I thought I was torturing them. And all the time I made them happy, because I woke them up to, they going to school, to work with me the next day. And then my next weekend off, they waking me up to go to work. I thought I was torturing them.
Yeah.
And then they ended up following me and even going above me with my help. So now they want to return the favor that I did for my mom.
Yeah.
You know, I told my kids the story. My mama never worked. And then they like, "Well, you can quit your job when you want to." And I was like, "And do what?"
Right.
I can't call you all day. You at work. So January makes 28 years I've been a nursing assistant.
Wow. Yeah.
So working with the elderlies, you don't do nothing but develop more knowledge.
Yeah.
They always got a different story to tell, and you know, and I listen, and they loved it when you listen to them. You ain't just doing what you got to do and hurrying up and go, because they'll tell me the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I asked her to do something, and she just gave it to me and hurry up out of here.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
so I made them feel like, this is your time. What do you need? What do you want?
Yeah. So it was more about like building connection.
Yes.
Than like just helping.
And I like, and going back to that magic word you just said, building connection.
Yeah.
I think at even 7 years old, I was building connection with my dad.
Yeah.
Because at 7 years old, if my mom didn't want me to go with my dad for whatever reason they broke up, she could have demanded to keep me away. Like, you got those kids, now I want kids. You know, I done started a whole family, and I missed those kids now, and I had my first baby after leaving you. She could have kept me away, but it was me that wanted to go see my dad and be with my dad, and found ways.
And do you, like, why do you think like building connection is so important, would you say?
Well, for me, I really don't have a definition for that. It's just my heart goes out to everybody. Yeah. I really, I don't know. Even in a relationship, a relationship that I had got out of, I told the person, I say, I'd rather be your friend than your enemy.
Yeah.
You know, you can break up with a person, and like I was saying about my mom and my dad, my mom could have kept me away from my dad out of anger.
Yeah.
You know, but I found a way. And then even with me going to see my dad, it made them talk to each other. Because they had to talk to each other about me. When I'm coming, when I'm going back, what do I need? So, like I say, even in a relationship, if we choose to get together in that relationship, we should choose to separate in that relationship and still be friends.
So,
Yeah.
still hold space for each other, even though whatever this is, it might not be working out right now, but...
Yes, maybe we're meant to be friends.
Yeah.
And not lovers, you know? So I always just like to leave everything on a good note.
Yeah.
my conscience bothers me about things that ain't right. And I try not to put everything on my conscience or on my head, but I have a lot of people depend on me. For me to be the seventh child, I am the most independent of my mom kids. My mom.
Are you the youngest?
No, I'm number 7.
Okay.
Out of 9.
Yeah.
And just like I say, even by me moving my mom here, I could have let my mom move my sister and brothers and them here in her little apartment after I got her here. But I know they come here. I got 4 bedrooms, you know.
Did you feel like a sense of responsibility or?
Not at all.
It was just like your heart. You're like, just come on. Yeah.
That's just, to this day, I'm like that.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like something I'm like really starting to understand is like even beyond our like I know we were talking about family and shit like that, but like holding space for like soul family, you know, like people who aren't related to me, but having people who genuinely care about me, you know, and like creating that space I think is so important too.
Yes.
And like having, you know, community.
Yes.
And so I would really love to hear like your take on like community and like why that's also important to have too, you know.
Because negativity brings negativity. Happiness brings happiness. Like my grandma used to tell my aunties them growing up and being a young girl, like I said, living with my mom and being there. My grandma, she has some Mississippi information for you. She'll be like 2 birds of a feather flock together. So if I'm a bad person and you're a good person and you hang with me, people gonna look at you as a bad person because look, she hanging with her.
Yeah.
When all the time you got your own title, your own way of doing things, but they don't know. And then she will also say this other line, if you shuffle, you a deal. And I used to be like, Grandma, what do that mean? So it's the same as 2 birds of a feather flock together. So, yeah, that's just what it all goes back to.
Yeah. I just like am starting to realize too though, like, and weed out kind of the things maybe that are negative, like you were saying, like, you know, negative breeds negative energy, and just like starting to recognize the things in my life that are toxic, the people in my life who are toxic, and like just leaving it with peace, like you said, just kind of like, even though maybe some of that is going to be hard to do, whether it be a person or whether it be a bad habit, you know, but leaving it with peace instead of anger or resentment, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know what will happen in the end? When that person realizes, like they say, a person don't miss you until you're gone. Because in the end, that person that lost you will realize they lost something valuable. You know, and then they will come back and, you know, apologize for whatever broke up y'all relationship, friendship, or whatever.
Well, and I know we're almost here, and I just want to say, like, thank you for, you know, taking the time to talk to me and get to know me and really, like, see me. And I really enjoyed.
The pleasure was all mine.
I really enjoyed our conversation, you know, and I guess the last question I would have is, like, any advice that you would give to the people out there, or?
Well, we already living in hard times, you know, all these homeless people losing jobs, you know, and it's a lot of stuff to keep us negative. We just have to hold on to the positive.
Yeah.
You know, reminisce, remind yourself, and just help thy neighbor, you know.
Yeah.
In seasons, you know, knock on your neighbor's door, make sure they're okay, especially the elderly that lives next door to you.
Yeah.
You know, this is what they did back in their days. It wasn't until our days came that we made it worse on this earth.
Yeah.
They days were the best. That's why they had 16, 17 kids.
Yeah.
Because they just loved kids. I asked, my grandma had 16 kids, 9 boys and 7 girls. I said, Grandma, why you have all these kids? I don't know. I guess I just like feeding them. So, you know, when you hear, and I got 6 kids.
Yeah.
And my oldest daughter got 5 kids. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's easier to have them than to love them and cherish them, but
Yeah.
we all just need to do that. And even if you don't go around people, you can love anybody from a distance,
Yeah.
And don't forget to say your prayers and count your blessings.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one thing I would say for everybody to take away. Say your prayers and count your blessings. Because not everybody is fortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, this has been a great conversation, and I'm really blessed to have met you. And now I have somebody in Minnesota who I can,
Now you can't get rid of me.
Exactly right.
I am one of those persons.